This is an article that I'm reading from, and it states there's a group of people who control what you are allowed to see, the news you read, the videos you watch, the posts you engage with. You haven't heard of them, you don't know their names, but they determine through methods both direct and indirect whether you are allowed to be exposed to particular messages. Their decisions can bankrupt companies, silence voices, and fundamentally shift cultural norms. Who are these people and how do they do this? Well, it's the World Economic Forum, the World Federation of Advertisers, and the Global Alliance for Responsible Media that was created by them. I ask for unanimous consent to submit this article into the record. There's a couple of things that I believe need to be corrected. Mr. Waller, you indicated early in your testimony that these various companies do not compete with each other, but that is in fact untrue. Unilever competes with Procter & Gamble, for example, and there are many other examples where these companies in fact do compete against each other. So when they are conspiring or colluding with each other to actually cut off conservative media, I think that there are absolutely antitrust considerations. And your willingness to just simply disregard that evidence is rather laughable in light of the information that has been brought to light today. Mr. Patel, you stated that Unilever seeks to avoid despicable content. That was what you stated in your testimony. Do you consider conservative media or philosophy to be despicable content?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And is GARM engaged in a political boycott of conservative media sources?
GARM is not intended to represent Unilever and where it invests and where it doesn't invest.
That wasn't what my question was. My question was, is GARM engaged in a political boycott of conservative media sources?
I'm not able to answer that question.
Mr. Jewell, is GARM engaged in a political boycott of conservative media sources?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so then the testimony that GARM's actions are protected activity is not relevant to today's hearings, and in fact, GARM's operations likely constitute antitrust violations. Mr. Shapiro, the Daily Wire covered the boycott of Bud Light, and in this instance, Bud Light supported social policies which did not align with the values of many Americans. The facts were presented to the consumers, and they used their options that were available to select a different brand which did not offend their personal beliefs. This is different than when companies go into the shadows and use an organization such as GARM to organize a boycott to deprive consumers of the choice of where they get their news without the consumers ever even knowing that their choices are being limited. Wouldn't you agree?
I do.
It's a very different circumstance when consumers engage in a boycott than when companies conspire to engage in a boycott based upon the content or the philosophy of the news organization that they're boycotting. Is it appropriate for GARM or its members to get involved with content moderation? Mr. Shapiro?
I believe that it is not. Companies should be able to do much of this on their own.
Okay. In March of 2022, there was an email from GARM co-founder and initiative lead, Rob Rakowitz. Mr. Patel, do you know Mr. Rakowitz?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Jewell, have you ever met Mr. Rakowitz?
No, I have not.
But you both are on the board for GARM, is that correct?
We're on the advisory
Yes.
board.
You're on the advisory board, but you've never met the gentleman who put this organization together?
We have in Unilever, we have a senior member that sits on the board.
Okay. So in his email, he talked about GARM's boycotting and strong-arming of Twitter because it opposed Elon Musk and his free speech principles, according to Mr. Rakowitz. He wrote that Unilever has, quote, issues with partisan takes such as the Hunter Biden laptop expose. Mr. Patel, was the the information about the Hunter Biden laptop, was that a partisan take?
No, that's not what GARM is designed to do, and Unilever should not be involved in that conversation.
Okay. Did your organization, did Unilever avoid advertising on any type of a website that attempted to expose the truth about the Hunter Biden laptop?
No.
That you're aware of?
Unilever did, no.
But GARM did.
GARM doesn't represent Unilever.
But Unilever is a member of GARM.
Yeah, but GARM doesn't represent how we invest our money.